I spent an afternoon talking with Radio Man in his van, aptly named Radio Days. Thematically, it's one of the most detailed of its kind. Having already completed a coast-to-coast adventure of his own on Route 50, Radio Man offered the original suggestion that we do a similar trip, this time on Route 20. I, being the big dreamer that I am, took it to the next level in terms of participation and historic significance. Bob Geldof would be proud. The following is the initial discussion in which a very large can of worms presented itself, and we opened it. So this trip, let's
talk about this trip.
It's Route 20.
It's Route 20 in 23. It starts in Boston, and as a matter of fact, 3,365 miles from Newport, Oregon to Boston, Massachusetts.
From Newport,
Oregon.
So the Vagabonds, they've got a stake in this trip.
Okay.
They're going to be interested now.
Okay. It was constructed in 1926.
From Boston, comes down, obviously it goes through Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana.
Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and Massachusetts.
Yeah. I took a motorcycle trip from New Jersey. We took Route 6.
Okay.
All the way to Milwaukee.
Okay.
For Harley Davidson's 90th.
Yep, and I think that goes up into Washington somewhere. I was running across.
Beautiful run.
I was running across 6. 6 is also in Cleveland. As a matter of fact, 6 and 20 run together through Cleveland in certain spots. And I was surprised that it ran that far west. Because again, it doesn't end in a 0, so I knew it didn't go coast to coast. But yeah, that kind of surprised me.
Well, tell me if this is how I picture this thing, or one version of it. Is the trip starts in Boston, and we're going to make our way to Newport. All along the way, you jump on, you peel off. Whenever you want to come and go, you go. But there isn't. We're not going to follow a timeline per se. I'm thinking that if we got to a certain place, at this certain stop, we may stay for 2 nights, then continue on.
Yeah.
Depending on what these...
Well, based upon my trip on 50, one of the mistakes that I made, I drove every day. I really only stopped for 2 days, and that was the days that I spent with my friends, taking it in stages, laying it out, plotting it out, 200 miles between stops.
Right.
Overnight stops.
Yeah.
Finding out then what's in or around either those areas or between 2 areas, so we've got a pretty good idea as to what do you want to see, what do I want to see, what do we think people might want to see. But once we have those points, those 200-mile distant points, then I can go ahead and contact the city fathers.
Yeah.
And find out what they have to say about 2 vans or 20 vans or,
500 vans.
Yeah.
It's like, have you ever seen a marathon? Like the New York Marathon?
Yes.
In the beginning, it's very dense.
Yes.
But then for the next 3 days, you got people passing through. That's what this is going to be like. That's what I imagine.
I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure.
And that density is going to stretch and move and undulate through like traffic does. Just the same way.
Yep.
It would be very difficult to organize it in lockstep.
Well, it would be like herding cats.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do it.
No.
That isn't even what the whole van thing is about.
Exactly.
So take a train then. Why don't we just connect up and go?
Yeah. My favorite trip so far in the van has been from Cleveland to Chicago, which is about 305 miles or something. Took me 3 days.
Yeah, perfect.
There was I'm driving down the road and I see something about an Auburn museum in Indiana.
The cars?
Yes.
Whoa.
Oh, it is Auburn, Duesenberg, and Cords.
Oh.
It is beautiful.
Oh, we have to stop there.
Yeah. Oh, I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Oh.
There were actually like 5 museums in a cluster.
Give me an idea of a time frame to get out there and back. What do you think?
Well,
At 200 miles. Now, if you did it in 200 miles every single day, that's the last thing I want to do.
oh no. If you did, it's going to take you 16 and a half days.
You're probably 30 days out.
That's what I'm figuring.
Yeah. 30
That's-
days out, and then if you wanted to blow back, you could if you wanted to do. So it's possible that I may block out 2 months to do this trip. Go out and come back.
I'm planning 6 weeks. Is what I had in mind. The last trip when I took 50, I came back on Interstate 90, and it turned out to be a very nice trip. I was able to make good time because it was an interstate coming back from Oregon, although I will probably personally run down to San Francisco and then probably up to Seattle to see friends before I came back anyway.
Right.
But certainly 30 days out is allowing half the time driving, half the time hanging around.
Yeah.
And then,
I think that's a good pace.
yeah,
That's going to give you a chance to appreciate where you stopped
yeah,
and see stuff and talk to people.
yep,
You know, I want to sit and have lunch and talk to the guy who lives in this town and get a sense of their culture.
yeah.
The only problem I have that I haven't cleared in my head is when we stop for the night, if we are in fact 50 vans stopping that same night, how do we handle that? Where do we stay? How do we stay? We've got to have that all planned out.
That creates the situation where then you have to drive to that location on that night when they're expecting you because you've told them.
Yeah, or like I said, we have if we talk to this one town, we say for the next 4 days or this 4 or 5 day period, you'll have vans coming through. Accommodate them. And then we do that straight down through the route. For whatever block of time that we estimate, that town needs to know they're going to have these tourist vans coming through.
Will they have to identify themselves as being part of our group?
No, because there's no registration, there's no nothing.
Okay,
It could be, because here's the thing, people jumping on and off
Right.
at their will, this is included. If this guy wants to just drive from his house to the field and camp for a night with us, he can do that.
Yeah.
He jumped on and he left
Yeah.
the next morning. It doesn't matter.
okay, all
You know,
right,
the town just needs to know there's going to be some sort of a convergence
okay,
over these 5 days, whatever that tail leading through,
Well, and we can just react as we plot this out and we
That's
know
what
where
we
the
know.
towns are.
Right.
We can contact them immediately, find out if they're game.
Right.
If they're not, then adjust
move the route.
at that point.
Right.
Say, okay,
Move the
great,
town.
we'll stop 50 miles sooner or drive 50 miles further.
Right. If this is considered an organized trip, is there a liability issue? If somebody gets hurt, an accident, God forbid, anything goes wrong, are we liable? We organized this trip. We blew the whistle and said, let's go, West Ho.
Well, I
My father was a trial lawyer, so I think this way.
no, and I understand, and it's a good point because that's one of the things that I'm wondering in relationship to the towns,
Same
whether or
thing.
not they're going to assume any responsibility or liability. The genesis was I'm taking US 20 from Boston
Yeah.
to Oregon. Then it was I knew some people that might like to go. Okay, well, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
If you want to come along, I can't stop you. It's a public road.
Yeah. Well, you made the mistake of telling me, and then I told all of them.
But that's fine. We're still not.
We're not a sanctioned, organized event.
No,
We're not a stadium.
no. And the only reason why we're calling ahead to the towns is, from my standpoint, and maybe I'm way off in left field. I'm just doing it as a courtesy to them.
Yeah. I think it would be a great disrespect not to alert the town.
Exactly, or at least let them know that the potential is there.
Oh, it would be a nightmare otherwise.
Yeah. And if they say, "Oh no, we're not interested," thank you very much. But we'll know that ahead of time.
Yeah.
If we hit spots where there are no towns that are willing to cooperate, then just let folks know, this stop, this group of stops, you're on your own.
Yeah, it's no man's land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you can do.
Well, you mentioned the Walmarts, so it may be possible that if the towns aren't going to play nice, maybe the Walmart will.
Yeah.
Maybe
You have Harvest Host.
Harvest Host.
Between the golf courses, the museums, the farms, which again will be up and operational because it'll be springtime, late spring. I'm a little nervous that folks driving other than Bs will want to get involved.
Yeah, this was supposed to be just vans, just Class B vans.
Well, and not B plus.
I had a commenter say that that Pleasureway Excel that I want to redo.
Yeah.
That's a cutaway. That's a cutaway chassis.
I noticed that.
And it's got a fiberglass.
I noticed that. I was going to mention that to you when you were calling it a B on your video.
Yeah. Is that a B or not?
No.
It's not a B. It's not a van.
That's right. It's not built within the van structure.
Yeah.
So
that's a tough one because that particular style of van is prolific across the country. They're all going to want to come and drive with it. Where do you draw that line? If you're telling me no Excels, I see that as a huge problem because it's one of the biggest vans. The most vans that are out there are that van, that model.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say no to anybody.
Right.
But
well, we can't have fifth wheels and Class A's. It would be a shit show.
Well, I know, but I just,
yeah.
Where do you draw the line?
This is getting very difficult.
For me, the problem has nothing to do with being snooty or exclusionary in relationship to. It's just got to do that. Yeah, if we wind up with especially a large number, and like you said, fifth wheels and casitas.
Yeah. Remember that scene from Jaws where they started to put a bounty on the shark and all these fishing boats, and it was just, that's what could happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what could
and
happen.
then that's just gonna ruin it for everybody.
That's what this talk is we got to start to open up all of these boxes and see what's inside. We got to discuss it and come up with solutions. That's a big one for me. I love that van.
Guidance is pretty clear as to what makes it be
a cutaway. If it's a cutaway, it's not a van.
Yeah.
It's not a Class B.
If we're going to nip this,
we got to figure this out.
Then we're going to have to nip it early on and just go underground. That's all, and just go back to you and me, and if there's a couple other people that we know of, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just we were thinking about opening this up, but there were just too many challenges and liabilities and the like. So we're not going to do it, and we do it anyway.
Right. I'm not quitting that easily.
No,
I'm not giving up that easily.
No, and I will still. I will still, because like I said, I'm doing the tour. I'm doing the trip.
Yeah.
And because of what I learned on 50, this is the way I was going to tackle this trip anyway. I'm just thinking that I'm some small town of 5,000 people, 10,000 people, and I have a chance that 10% of my population is going to show up on a particular day. If nothing else, at least I want to call in the weekend deputies.
For sure.
Okay, but sure. If I don't know that I'm getting 100 vans in.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah, see, that's the whole, because...
But they're also not all going to come in at once.
Oh, but they might.
They may. That's right.
Everybody may get lockstepped, and this may turn out to be just one heck of a hootenanny, and let's just all travel along, and it's a wagon train.
Well, then you've got to assume the worst. I think that at each of these stops, you're saying there could be 16 stops, let's say.
Yep.
So we would need 16 venues that could accommodate.
Well, or everybody needs to look. Everybody knows where we're going to be.
Right.
Okay. As
Right.
far as whoever's traveling, here's the stops.
Itinerary. Right.
Here's the stops. Okay.
And we also have a date we're leaving. We're leaving on this day
Yeah.
from Boston.
Okay.
You don't think you're going to get 100 vans that follow with us? I think we would.
Well, but the thing, my point is it's up to them to figure out where they're going to stay at these locations. If they're comfortable with trying to stay at the Walmart, let them go stay at the Walmart.
Yeah, but that goes back to the original idea that we've got to let these towns know.
I don't think we do, because we're not telling them anything. To say that I may be showing up with possibly 5 vans or perhaps 500.
Yeah.
You're not telling me anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what am I supposed to do? Do I have extra law enforcement on duty, or don't I? If I've spent the money to bring in the weekend deputies and you show up with 5 vans, I'm going to come to you and say, write me a check.
The Mini Coopers do a very similar trip. Mini Cooper owners go coast to coast. And I think it's got to be structured because they're staying in hotels.
Yeah.
If it's to be done that way, then you need those organizers because we're not capable of doing this.
No.
Nor
I
do I want to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no desire. This. We've worked on this overnight, and to be perfectly honest, I have come up with nada in relationship to a way to handle this or to form this into something productive and doable. But I understand you have come up with an idea.
I do have an idea. I got this idea last night, popped up in bed in the middle of the night. There's no way in the world that we can organize 24 vans, 100 vans, 500 vans. As you heard, we just can't. It's not practical. It's not feasible. But the route, the itinerary, the roadmap is possible. What's going to happen is Radio Man is going to map out this trip. Route 20 starts in Boston, ends in Newport, Oregon. He's going to map out the trip, and in 200-mile blocks, he's going to find places to stay, towns, points of interest, all the way out to the coast. Then we're going to do the trip together. There may be several other vans with us. I'm going to then video shoot the whole trip. Stills, video. We're going to talk to people in diners. We're going to show you the points of interest, the problems we have, waking up, is it cold, is it hot, the whole shebang. Then that entire package is the coast-to-coast trip on 20. And you all can have it and use it and run it at your leisure. Yeah, I think this works. I think this is how the trip can be made by 500 vans, one at a time.
And folks that never get a van,
they can see it also. They can see
they can make the trip.
Because I intend to shoot the hell out of the whole thing. You can get involved in this. If any of you have done Route 20, any portion of it, and you've got some point of interest or some story to tell, send it in. Send me your stories, send me your images, whatever it takes, and I'll include that in my updates on the channel.